in the complete and the C24/7? There's a little bit of that in there because we have the carrots in there. This one the plant actually produced to talk to other species. They call it an allelechemic right there. Allelechemic, something the plant produces that actually communicates with other allele groups. And we go through there and wish we had the time, boy, to just explore carrots. But over 350, 364 and counting different nutrients that are found just in carrots. Anyone whose diet lacks the 40 plus? We're talking 4,000 plus that are in the complete phytoenergizer and the C24/7. This is allowing us to provide head-to-toe reactive oxygen species protection. Reactive oxygen species are the ones that radicalize, that damage our cells, that cause them to age prematurely, that cause us to die prematurely, and cause us to use so much of that energy to repair and replace those worn-out cells. So these plants, I love plants. They have to put up with whatever life deals them, wherever they're growing, whether it's a snowstorm, which you get a lot of here in the Philippines, or a typhoon, or a drought, or bugs, locusts, insects, viruses, bacteria. They can't pick up and move. They can't take a vacation. They can't go on a cruise to reduce stress. They can't leave, so they leaf. They produce those leaves, and in those leaves they produce this myriad of constituents, of compounds, of nutrients, by the hundreds, by the thousands, to address their needs. And that's why we depend and can't live without them. Things like ecoflavone glycosides that protect the hippocampus, a little region in the brain, to protect it from the amyloid plaque that can build up and be a leading indicator of Alzheimer's disease. Or lutein. We're going from head to toe. Lutein specializes as a nutrient protector of the macula of the eye. And we've gone over this. There's only 2 little spots that lutein is found in concentrated amounts. Who knows the other one? I gave you the macula to prevent macular degeneration. Who remembers from past years, where is the other little spot of cells in a woman's body where lutein is found in high concentration? Does anybody remember? Raise your hands. Or did I put it up there? Well, all you have to do is read then. It's up there. What is the corpus luteum? Raise a hand. Not quite. Where's the corpus luteum, huh? The corpus luteum, that's what we're talking about. Where is that and what is it? No. 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 Huh? Sex. Egg cells. It's the yolk of the ovum of the... Now, to turn that on, you just turn it. Yeah, just turn it that way and it'll turn on. Turn it back counterclockwise and it'll turn off. Thanks for grasping that knowledge. So lutein, a specialized protecting antioxidant, will go and protect the macula, a little yellow disc at the back of the eye, and also is found in the yolk of the ovum, the eggs of a woman. Well, those are, your body loves lutein. It'll absorb it. You can drink lots of carrot juice and your skin can actually glow orange from so much lutein. And your body just keeps on drinking it in because it loves it. But it really only is deposed, laid down in high concentrations into that macula and into the yolk of the eggs. Selenium protects the heart from virus mutation so that it's not damaged. Lignans help you build enterolactone that protect mammary tissue and prostate tissue and other tissues of the body. Silymarin protects the membranes of the sinusoid cells of the liver. Highly specific nutrition that you get when you aim for complete nutrition. And get that silymarin that will protect the sinusoid cell membranes. Lycopene was mentioned by Dr. Maria. Quercetin protects lymphocyte DNA. Amazing specific nutrients. Who can think of, and everybody think about this, who can think of a phytonutrient that specializes, one that we haven't mentioned? Who knows of a phytonutrient found in complete, found in the C24/7 that specializes? That gives us special protection. Anybody got one over there? I can't see with the lights. The person who yelled, have you got your hand up? Because I want to come out there and give you a keychain. Do you have an example of a specialized phytonutrient that specializes in protection? Have you got one? Selenium, one that we gave as an example. I was hoping for something new, something different than what we expressed, that we talked about. But that's a good one. Anything new? Lutein, we mentioned that one. Anything different than what we mentioned? Anybody have an example of something that we haven't mentioned? Isoflavones, what do they protect? Give it a whirl. What do they protect? Cancer. Against cancer? Okay, can you catch her? Should we pass that down? Yeah. So isoflavones would be another example. Isoflavones is what comes in clover and soy and other legumes. And these isoflavones, diadzine, genistein, they help the body not only to build healthier tissue and protect them from cancer, like you mentioned, but they also protect bone mineral density, bone mineral content. So an excellent example that you gave. Tissues under anabolic stress have been recognized to be especially sensitive to trace element deficits. Deficiencies of microelements are more widespread in human nutrition. Greater attention to trace element status seems to be indicated. So these are all arguments and statements from the science that is encouraging us to aim towards complete nutrition. Not the part-some stuff of the latest little study on a particular mineral or a particular vitamin, but on complete nutrition, to get these micro elements incorporated. Some of the ones that we just read. How many nutrients to date do we have in a carrot? Oh, yeah, it's a lot easier now, isn't it? I haven't been down here. How many in a carrot? 364. Just turn that clockwise to turn that on. Yeah, thank you for grasping that knowledge. So we've got those things going, and thousands of nutrients. Over 10,000 have been already displayed, or I should say identified, characterized in the body. So how many of us are eating well? Well, 77% of us don't eat enough fruits and vegetables. We overindulge in simple carbohydrates, refined sugars, and the like. Nearly a third of our calories come from junk food. See how the nutrition is just plummeting? The gap burgeoning? Those gaps in our nutritional needs are certainly plummeting as we become more affluent and are choosing those very dense energy foods, the fatty ones, the fried ones, the sugar-rich ones. And then not having enough room for all the greens and the fruits and the veggies and the enzymes and the mushroom nutrients that we should be having in our diet each and every day. A third of our calories from junk food. Many are deficient in the B vitamins. Iron and magnesium deficiencies are a global threat. Zinc deficiency, another global threat. Now we have to worry about global warming. Did you see this one? Less nutritious grains may be in our future. This was just this last week. Rising CO2 poses significant threat to human nutrition. Further reduction in dietary zinc and iron. that are already evident in the literature, in the research. This from the journal Nature. Increasing CO2 threatens human nutrition. So is it a waste? Is it a waste to take the light out to the world of complete nutrition? I'll tell you where there's a waste. An estimated 2 billion people suffer these deficiencies, causing a loss of 63 million life years every single year. That's a waste. To take that light, that health, and that well-being to the world through complete nutrition is no waste. It is a wonderful work that you are performing, and I thank you for it. So a complete formulation for success is nutrient diversity, the complete picture. And enough potency there to be life-giving, life-sustaining, energy-sustaining, and protect every cell from head to toe. But you've got to have another key there, absorption. You can put everything you want into a big old pill, but if that pill doesn't give it back out to the person who's taking it, poor absorption, energy drain from lack of absorption, poor value. But if you get great absorption from that high-potency, nutrient-diverse multivitamin, energizer, then you'll feel the difference. And that will bring people back for more. They'll get greater energy. But they'll also have a reduction in stress. And there's a lot of stress out there. Especially when you think legumes, beans, and grains might have less nutrients in them in the future as we get more CO2 levels are elevated throughout the world. So, what is the ultimate energy source for each cell? Who remembers that one? The ultimate energy source for each cell. ATP, adenosine triphosphate. Very good. Yeah, we need all of those nutrients to make those complex cascades convert all of our fats, carbs, and proteins ultimately into adenosine triphosphate. And besides giving us energy, complete multivitamins reduce what? They definitely reduce reactive oxygen species. Let's see some hands. What else? Besides increasing energy, what will a multivitamin supplement reduce? You can poll the audience on this one. What? No? What?
Can I have the question again, please?
Multivitamins we know will increase energy. What will they also reduce? Stress. Findings demonstrate that a multivitamin and mineral supplement significantly reduces anxiety and perceived stress. So is it a waste? A waste to have a complete nutrition? A waste to have C24/7? I beg to disagree wholeheartedly. That you can have, as in nature, dietary diversity is a strength. I didn't just put in the top of the list greens. I looked and made sure we had greens that represented globally different latitudes, different altitudes, different climes, different zones, things that would be having to deal with their stress, that they could bring those nutrients to bear in your life and help reduce the stress that robs you of your energy and robs you of your well-being. So we have, of course, the vitamins and minerals, and we'll go through rapidly on these next few slides because I think you have an understanding and awareness of the individual vitamins. Science certainly appreciates them. We call them vital amines because we thought maybe they were all amine groups to begin with, but they are vital to life. And those B vitamins were the most important energizing nutrients that have been identified to date. We need to metabolize protein, fats, and carbs with these B vitamins. They help the body produce adenosine triphosphate, and deficiencies of these vitamins trigger fatigue. But they all work together in that Rubik's Cube. You have to all put them together for them to help and incorporate and make that energy. At least 30, right, that are on the list. But we're talking 30 plus of these vitamins that are found in both the C24/7 and Complete Phyto Energizer. How many? How many phyto compounds do we think are out there so far? I mentioned this just briefly. How many phytonutrients do we know of that have been measured out there? I went that way before. How many? Do you have an answer? 30 plus. What's the plus? Come out to me. Huh? Let's go with that one. I said 10,000. They're saying 22,000. I like their number. I like their number. There could be tens of thousands. They know of at least 10,000 right now. But there could be 20, 30, 40,000 nutrients that contribute towards our good health and our longevity. If we took just vitamin A, there would be some problems. We could get too much. Alopecia. Skin and hair peels off, painful bones and joints when you're taking in too much provitamin A. If you don't get enough, night blindness. So you have this spectrum of nutrition, and if you're just playing one note on that nutritional keyboard, one vitamin A, da 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 da, sounds okay as a note, but it can get really boring and it can be taxing after a while to just play vitamin A. And so we need to have that in wholesomeness. And you can see the international units there of the recommendations as well as the upper tolerable intake limits. But vitamin A only can do so much if it is left on its own. Are some multivitamins a waste? Yes. Yes, indeed. In fact, many multivitamins are a complete waste. Consumer Lab goes on Dr. Oz back last April 2013, and Todd Cooperman, a medical doctor whom I've talked to and know, he went on that show and talked about his review of multivitamins, finding that 40% of the multivitamins that they tested failed to meet label claim, either had too little of the nutrients according to their label claim or far too much. Almost half the products did not meet standards. Some had vitamin A 2 times as much as what their label were claiming. If you're taking high doses of just vitamin A, you can get into problems. It can be a real danger. By the way, all the multivitamins tested that came from Nature's Way, that provides and produces Complete and C24/7, all were completely approved, sanctioned in this same testing of the multivitamins. So, what are the dangers found in nearly half of all multivitamins tested in the United States? What is the danger of nearly half of the multivitamins tested? Come on, somebody's over here's got to have it. What is the danger of so many multivitamins tested in the U.S.? Overdose or undervalue, not meeting label claim. Thanks for grasping that. That is what we're finding a problem in some of the manufactured things. So thiamine, you know about vitamin B1 deficiency. Beriberi is caused when you don't get enough of that. You know that if you get too much of it, well, we don't know exactly what's wrong with too much. There is no upper tolerable intake limit even established or determined for vitamin B1. But we know that if you inject it, that it may cause some anxiety and itching of the skin, since it does work with the nervous system. But definitely a deficiency is problematic there. But you can get up to a maximum of 27 milligrams of riboflavin absorbed in a single meal or dose, and all of them work together. Riboflavin interrelates with other B vitamins, niacin, B3, B6. They all work together. If you have them in parts, you're going to do yourself some harm. You can get into overdoses or underdosaging. But if you're using them in their complete nutritious state and in their complex, you can really serve a person's well-being. Multivitamins of waste under heavy exercise, you may need to increase the amount of vitamin B that you're getting into your diet. Decreases have shown significant decrements in performance as measured during single bouts of intense exercise, according to this research. Those who are engaged in physically demanding occupations or who spend much time training for active sports may require additional thiamine. These are quotes from the whole group of scientists that put together the daily recommended intake values from the Institutes of Medicine at the National Institutes of Health in the U.S. Many studies have demonstrated that increased protein intake causes a relative decrease in vitamin B6. So there are several more reasons to have something that has lots of good, rich B vitamins in it, supplementing your diet on a daily basis. Drugs that react with these B vitamins can also reduce your energy levels and cause you to not be able to produce the neurotransmitters that you need. Drugs that are used in treating tuberculosis or depression can also reduce the value of the B6 concentrations in the blood. Other potential drug interactions, blood thinners, and anti-inflammatory drugs. High doses, are they a waste? Well, the following diseases have been treated with drugs that have anti-folate activity. Malaria, something we still see here in the Philippines. Bacterial infections, hypertension, these infections of viruses and bacteria and protozoa, chronic ulcerative colitis. All of these things can reduce the amount of B vitamin, folic acid, B9 in the diet. And so it's recommended even for people with rheumatoid arthritis to get even up to the upper tolerable intake limit of 1 milligram a day in supplementations. So the science to say that vitamin supplementation is a waste, and then on the other hand say that many of these people who have more protein in their diet, who more exercise, who have prescription drugs, who have these other problems, needing more vitamins than ever, it is to rob them of the light. Rob them of the light that we can carry to them for their complete nutrition. So besides all of those, when would we want to take more than one capsule of complete or C24/7? Give me a reason. Give me two, since we've gone over a lot of those. Give me 2 reasons why a person would want to take more than 1 capsule a day of the C24/7 or complete. What have you got?
Drugs.
If they're on prescription medications, have you got another one? Huh? Say it again. Picky eaters. I love it. Just turn that counterclockwise to turn it off. Picky eaters. Kids. The kitty C24/7, right? Excellent way to get the B complex in there, all of them together, because we got a lot of picky eaters in that younger age group. Pyridoxine, B6, dermatitis. If you get too much of it, you get ataxia, unable to control your movements. You can't walk very well if you're getting too much vitamin B6. Are single vitamins a waste? Some of them might be. You might be wasting your money on single vitamins, using them one at a time, because you have to have them all to be able to work together to convert into other vitamins that you need. The conversion of tryptophan, for example, doesn't need just one B vitamin. It needs B2, B6, and niacin or B3 to be able to convert those nutrients of tryptophan into niacin. What about high doses of vitamins in foods? Can we have that same problem if we're eating our greens and our veggies and our fruits and our mushrooms? High intakes of vitamin B6 from food sources have not reported to cause any adverse effects. There is no known toxicity risk from eating vitamin K-rich foods. It's pretty hard to overdo it from food alone. So you've got that safety there as we're aiming for complete nutrition. How do complete nutrients prevent overdose? How is it when we take a whole food, a complete multivitamin, a C24/7, or complete phytoenergizer, how do they protect us and keep us from doing any harm?
They're synergistic effects.
Synergistic effects. They all work together and change how each one is operating and used. There's also competition. We didn't mention that. But competition, they're competing for absorption. And so you won't get an overdose of any one in particular because they all work together synergistically, as was mentioned. Vitamin C deficiency, scurvy. Do you know that it's back? There are kids that are suffering from scurvy, even in developed countries. Why is that? Why do we see scurvy making a comeback in developed countries? Because mom says, go ahead and just eat the pizza. Just go ahead and eat the Pop-Tart. You don't have to finish your broccoli. You don't have to finish that papaya. I don't want to eat those fruits and vegetables. I just want a Pop-Tart. I just want a donut. Oh, okay. Moms are the number one reason that scurvy is so prevalent in developing countries. Mom's not saying, no, you must eat your fruits and vegetables. And we have kids that are suffering from scurvy again these days. Too much causes diarrhea. So are they a waste? Is it a waste to have a nice rich source of vitamin C in our whole food and our complete nutrients? Well, we've talked a lot about heart disease already today. Here's a nice study that came out just this year. Hemorrhagic stroke is reduced, the risk thereof is reduced, adding to the long list of vitamin C benefits. How about exposure to toxins? Things like bisphenol A, bisphenol B, the things that are in plastics. That exposure can certainly cause pregnancies to be premature, to be small, children to reduce their birth weight. But they found that increasing dietary vitamin C intake during pregnancy may help to reduce any adverse effects of bisphenol A on birth weight. So another nice thing that we've learned, and who might need to have a daily supplement of complete nutrition in their lives. Vitamin D deficiency, rickets. Rickets is back. Doctors are seeing patients with rickets again, when we thought we had gotten rid of that completely. Why? Why do we see rickets coming back? Think about that one. Too much vitamin D overdose can cause some anorexia, stones, heart damage. Too little vitamin K, liquid malabsorption. No known overdose problem with vitamin K. How about calcium? You don't get enough, you get reduced bone mass and osteoporosis. You get too much, you get kidney stones. I have a question mark there on that one. Kidney problems, perhaps? Blocks absorption? Maybe heart disease? 2 studies, recent in both men and women, with no history of kidney stones, found that intakes of dietary calcium were associated with a reduced risk of kidney stones. So there's some conflict there. Are they a waste or aren't they? Do they cause kidney stones or don't they? This protective effect is attributed to the binding by calcium in the intestinal lumen, the gut, the intestine, calcium, when it's taken with food in a wholesome format, in a more complete nutrition, can bind with the oxalates, the oxalic acids, that are the culprit, that do cause kidney stones. Last, calcium supplements taken without food limits the beneficial effect of binding oxalate in the intestines. So the difference there is if you're taking calcium on its own, you can get too much of it into the bloodstream, and the body will try to get rid of that by perhaps forming a stone out of it inside the kidneys, poor organs. But when it's taken with food and in its more wholesome state, then you can actually get it to reduce kidney stone formation by binding with the oxalic acid. So I ask you, why are we seeing kids with rickets today? Why are we seeing kids with rickets today? Why do you think we're seeing? Did I ask you before? Once? No? Okay.
Vitamin D deficiency.
Vitamin D deficiency, but why? Why does vitamin D deficiency rickets is cropping up again?
Too much playing ano yun yung mga gadgets. Too much playing of gadgets.
I love this. Look at this. Look at the signs she's given us. Go ahead and move those thumbs again like that. That's why. That's why. That's why rickets is coming back.
No playing.
The kids aren't outside getting vitamin D from sunlight and working their muscles, working their bones. They're inside in a windowless environment playing video games. And so rickets is on the way back up again. Oh, I forgot to give you your keychain. I'm taking the light to another area. There you go. Thank you. I love that. Playing videos. That's exactly right. That's the problem there. Diversity of nutrients supports sustained energy from head to toe. So is there also a need for diversity of minerals as well? I don't have enough keychains, but you can all just say, yes. A diversity of nutrients, of not only in vitamins, but also of minerals is so very important. Calcium interacts with iron, zinc, magnesium, and phosphorus. The interaction of calcium with several other nutrients results in changes in the absorption and utilization of each. So what's the best source of calcium up there? Which one rocks more in terms of complete nutrition? Calcium carbonate? I grew up on a farm, and my dad was always working. We had a half acre of just kitchen garden, rows and rows of vegetables, lots of fruits and orchards. A half acre that I was supposed to take care of, and my dad would every once in a while come out to encourage me, because little boys don't do a lot of weeding. I think that's one of the reasons I became an herbalist. You don't have to weed anymore when you're an herbalist. Once you become a master herbalist, nothing is a weed anymore. You're only ever harvesting, because you know what every plant will do for you. So you're eating all of these things, and there's no longer a weed left to be found in the heart of a true herbalist. But I was out there weeding with my dad, and I noticed that the dirt had lifted up. Rain and the irrigation water had lifted up the upper crust of the dirt. And to me, it looked like it was a brownie. It looked like a nice, perfect brownie. It was cut up and everything. The dirt had cracked from the moisture. So I handed one to my dad saying, look. And my dad, he's so focused on getting the plants taken care of, he assumed it was a brownie and stuck it in his mouth. And it only took him 3 bites to figure out that this was not a brownie. And he spat it out, and I was just stunned that he would actually put it in his mouth. And I've had to tell my kids the same thing. We don't eat rocks. Kids, don't eat rocks. Get your calcium from your plants. This is the spinach in my garden this year and the kale that's growing in my garden this year. That's where we get these minerals, the micro elements that also help to support the interactions of all these minerals to help us build a better you and a better me. A study came out just a couple of years ago that said calcium is going to cause a 30% increase in the incidence of heart attack, myocardial infarction. You learned that word with Dr. Bush. 30% increase in the incidence of myocardial infarction from calcium. But if you read into that study, it's exactly what we're trying to promote here. It's the light that we can carry to people. That when we aim for complete nutrition, that calcium is not just rocks that we're eating. It's not just calcium carbonate.